once you've completely put together the apartment for this assignment, we're going to go ahead and put it on a sheet. Now, the process I'm about to show is true for any document on any sheet in any project. For this example, I just happen to be using the demo apartment since that's the first one that students in my class do. So one of the things that we want to do now is we want to create a sheet. So as I look at my project browser and I scroll down, because you might have more things open than I do, you should find the category that is titled Sheets and all in parentheses. And when you find this, you want to right-click on it and do New Sheet. When you click New Sheet, you're going to get this box that shows you a bunch of different pages that you can use. The one you're going to want to choose is DFRM Landscape. This is the page size that we're going to use for all pages in this class. You don't need to worry about any of the rest. So DFRM Landscape and hit OK. You're going to get an empty layout. Now this is again for setting up pages that would normally be printed. We do this at the end of every project to get everything ready to go. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to put the view on this sheet. So what you want to do is from your project browser, you want to grab the floor plan. The floor plan is where we drew this view here. And again, you can see it. It is titled floor plan there. So I'm going to grab my floor plan and I'm going to bring it out and I'm going to let go. Now I have this little box that's going to follow me around, and I'm going to click to set it down as close to the middle as I can. Now up at the top with my view selected, I have my view scale. So I can drop this down and I can choose whatever scale I think excuse me, will best fit my design in the workspace with a little space around it for stuff like dimensioning. And I can go up by this, and again, the larger the fraction is, the larger this is going to show. So if I go to 1/4 inch to a foot, it gets larger. So you can tell it does get larger from the corner. So I'm going to actually move it down to the corner here. That's not quite large enough, so I'm going to go try 1/2 inch to a foot. And that actually does a pretty decent job. I could maybe pick one of the more odd fractions, but in general, we want a fraction whose numerator, that top number, is a 1 to start with, because that just gives us a much better and more accurate and easier to use scale. So this is how I get the view on the sheet. Once the view is here, I have a viewport, that's my view into the actual view itself, as title with line. I want to drop that down and change it to no title, because it had some information down here, and as you could see, it was really, really small. I'm going to actually change that over here anyway, so I don't need it. So as I come over, this is called the title block, and there's several different areas I can fill in here. So first thing I want to do is I am going to double click on the page number. When I do this, the page number is supposed to show the size of the piece of paper, which in this case is D, and then a dash, and then a 2-digit page number. In this case, for this project, I'm only printing one page, so the page number is 01. In other projects where you have multiple pages, you might have to figure out page 2, page 3, page 4 based on the requirements. If I hit either enter or click out of it, it makes the change. Now I need to seem to make the first change in my title block to get the project name to show up as a question mark. So now when I double click that one, I can type in that this was the demo apartment. Now you'll notice I typed that in all caps because our text here should be in all capital letters. So it shows up in regular form, but you can see even the little titles of these sections are all in capital letters. So we're going to fill that out. Sheet name is usually whatever type of drawing this is. So this happens to be a floor plan. So floor plan is the drawing type I'm going to use. So this could be a floor plan, a specialty plan like a room or an electrical plan, a site plan, or a different style of drawing like an elevation. Okay, and then you're going to want to put your first and last name in here. So first, last, and please then put a space and add the number of the class period you are in, just so it's easy to keep everything square, especially if these are drawings that are being printed. Once I do that, all of my title block is filled out. And some of these will stay the same as you add sheets inside the same project. For example, the project name should carry over, as should the author. Now, the last thing we're going to add, and as with most floor plan drawings, we do want some dimensions or some concepts of size. Now, there's not really a way to do it on the sheet. So what you have to do is go back to the actual floor plan itself. The very top is the dimension tool. There's a bunch of different types of dimensions. Using aligned is usually fine because we're going to use a square side to dimension. You can also switch to linear if you're having trouble. But what I want to do is I want to get on this wall and this wall to set my dimension. Now, one of the things that we might do is right now it's picking the wall center line. So I'm going to change that to say wall faces. I don't think it'll let me actually switch this dimension for wall faces. Yeah, so I would have to remove that and put it back in. So I'm going to pull that up. Wall faces is what it wants to grab. I can click the outside face and the outside face, set that down, the outside face here and the outside face here, and set that down. And that way I have my dimensions. And as you can see, when I go to my sheet, those dimensions are already laid out. Now, I obviously put this one a little too far away. So one of my options is to either click on this under Modify and move it a little closer. And that's maybe a little too close. Or if it still doesn't show, I can actually click this and enlarge my viewport. So there you go. That's how you can make everything show up and get this ready to print or ready to turn in.